right, the Los Angeles Lakers right now, the kings of the Western Conference, sitting at 6-1 right now, rattling 6 off in a row after that loss to the Clippers. Looking impressive.
Yes, they have been, man. And I'll tell you what, Dolby, LeBron James over the last 3 games, 3 straight triple-doubles against Dallas, San Antonio, and Chicago. 39 points, 12 boards, 16 assists against Dallas, 21, 11, and 13 against the Spurs, and against the Bulls the other night, 30, 10, and 11. And, Dolby, this is the stat that I think is the most incredible. Since that -8 against the Clippers, and he took a lot of criticism for his play in that game on opening night, LeBron is plus 83. Are you kidding me with that from LeBron James? And he's reminding everybody in the world why he is the best player in the world. And his play is showing that, man. They were down big against Chicago, and when you needed LeBron James to come through, he did exactly that. And I'll tell you what, he is playing at a high, high level, and it's helping the team out.
Yeah, he's been great. Anthony Davis has been great. Player efficiency rating pretty close to LeBron James. Although the last game against Chicago, he was caught saying a little bit of funky stuff there in the locker room after the game. He said that Chicago is the basketball mecca. That is where he's from. That's his hometown. Okay. He was visiting some of his old high school back there, and he was just kind of talking up the city of Chicago there, but still claiming it was the mecca of basketball, not New York, not Los Angeles, but this is where all the talent comes from. This is where the lifeblood of basketball is, in Chicago. And he also hinted at, he is considering the Bulls in free agency next season. What's up with that?
He's not going to Chicago, man. There's just no way. That's like going to essentially like a Pelicans team that he was already on. If you go to the Chicago Bulls, who over the last few years since Derrick Rose left with that unbelievable season have pretty much been at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, there is no way that he is considering the Chicago Bulls, in my opinion, because you're playing with the best player on the planet. You're in the West Coast, L.A., man. This is L.A. It's hot down there, beautiful weather, and you're not going to leave that, especially if you win a title with LeBron James or you're in the Western Conference Finals with this guy. You're going to leave that to go to Chicago? Really? I'm not buying it at all.
He did play like crap against his favorite team, it seems like. He only had 15.7 rebounds and posted a -4 for his plus-minus rating in the game. He did do a good job shutting Lauri Markkanen down on defense, but you got to see more of Anthony Davis against Chicago. Maybe he has apparently he has a soft spot for the city because he went easy on him in this game. He's been dominant throughout the season. LeBron, Anthony Davis looking great. Kyle Kuzma came up huge against their most recent win against the Bulls whenever they were coming back, dropping 11 in that fourth quarter to really spark a nice run there for the offense for the Lakers. And Dwight Howard playing a heck of a role off this bench.
I'm a fan of this guy, Dwight Howard, man, and he's averaging 6, 8, and 2 blocks. And I'll tell you what, he's really picking up the slack. He's got 2 double-doubles this season. He came up huge, guys, in that San Antonio Spurs win on November 3rd. He had a double-double in that game, had 2 blocks. And he's just playing with energy, and he doesn't see it with the role attached to it. He's just having fun. He said that. And I love to see the comeback because in early July, the Wizards dealt him to the Memphis Grizzlies in exchange for C.J. Miles. And according to an interview with Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, the Wizards GM said, "This was the quickest trade I've ever done in my life." And now Dwight Howard in just a great situation in L.A. and his comeback. It didn't work out with Kobe Bryant. You got a little bit more of an unselfish player in LeBron James, and it's showing. He has been unreal, I'd say, off the bench for the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm glad he's made a great comeback. Good for Dwight Howard. I can't say enough about him.
Yeah, and this really speaks to the greatness of LeBron James,
oh, sure.
I feel like. Because, I mean, who has Dwight Howard been playing with, really? He's been with Bradley Beal, with Kemba Walker. Are you serious, dude? with an Atlanta team that doesn't have Trae Young on it. Who was it? Dennis Schroeder?
It was Dennis Schroeder.
Or Jeff Teague?
It was definitely Jeff
No,
Teague running the point
this
on
is
that
Dwight
team.
Howard that is 34 years old.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be that guy for you anymore. He doesn't need to be the defensive player of the year. He doesn't need to be an all-star.
Nope.
But he needs to come in and give you solid minutes off the bench. That's exactly what he's doing for this Los Angeles Lakers team. This is a perfect fit. Back in the day in 2012, he went to L.A. and they were thinking this is the new Shaq for Kobe. But Kobe Bryant is not the type of player or the caliber of player that LeBron James is. I'm sorry, Kobe is a top 10 player of all time, but he's not the same kind of guy. LeBron is getting everybody in the mix. Everybody's player efficiency rating, Danny Green, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, they're all up. They're all up.
Because LeBron's on the team.
Yeah, exactly. And Danny Green played with Kawhi Leonard, the supposed best player in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah,
and guess what? He's playing better this year. He's hitting his shots at a more efficient clip, and he's playing better defense. That's what all these guys are doing. Everybody's playing better because they are surrounding LeBron James. And LeBron James is coming close, actually exceeding his career averages in assists and rebounds currently, and is just like 2 points shy in points. So, I mean, this Lakers team, is only going to get better as the season goes on.
That's exactly where I was going with that too, Dolby. You kind of read my mind there. This team is just going to get better. We haven't even played 10 games, dude. And I'll tell you what, LeBron James' greatness, when you have that and you combine that with the players around him, the Danny Greens, the Dwight Howards, JaVale McGee, whoever else is on this squad that is contributing, it's going to be a very successful season here for the Lakers, and they've shown that they've won 6 in a row. It's a really impressive Lakers team, man. I've been really impressed with what I've seen.
Yeah, you got to love it. This dude, I mean, Dwight Howard, he's never won a championship, right? He's never won a championship in his year, in his career. So this would be great for him. I think this would really put the stamp on a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, for sure.
Would be a championship because he has the resume.
Oh, I think he's a Hall of Famer without the championship,
in
my opinion.
Look at these accolades. I mean, the 2-time block champion, 2-time All-Defensive Player, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8-time All-NBA and 8-time All-Star.
Yeah, he's a Hall of Famer with those numbers.
This dude's been incredible.
But that would, like you said, if he had the NBA championship, that would really just put him over the edge there. The icing on the cake for the Hall of Fame for sure.
All right, let's get into some games that we watched. We talked a little bit about that Clippers-Bucks game. It was on ESPN. And how disappointing it was to not see Kawhi Leonard on the court, because what we got in the other game in ESPN, Golden State at the Houston Rockets. Oh, my God, dude. At halftime, this game was over. ESPN slate of games, and we saw what they have coming up on Monday, where they have the Hornets and the Cavaliers playing. ESPN, you've got to get some better games.
It was Wizards-Cavs.
Oh, was it Wizards-Cavs?
It was Wizards-Cavs.
Okay. That's a little bit worse.
It was Wizards-Cavaliers, and I'll tell you what, you said it right there, Dolby. They got to get some better games on there for ESPN. You know, don't be showing us Cavs, Wizards, please.
Well, they showed us Golden State and the Rockets last night, and it was not fun to watch, dude. The first half was a little bit competitive, semi-competitive, but, I mean, the Rockets kind of coasted after halftime to a blowout victory there, 129-112. They faced the shell of what was once the Golden State Warriors. Now, Eric Pascal looking like the best player on that team.
He is the best player on that team, and this is a Warriors team that plays very hard now because they're a little bit younger, and Steve Kerr mentioned that he likes coaching this team because they play hard and he likes kind of teaching them the game. But I'll tell you what, this Rockets team just blew them out of the water. James Harden had an epic game. The starters really stepped up for the Houston Rockets. Their bench is not as good as what you have liked, but I'll tell you what, this was an absolute blowout. It was really never close. The Golden State Warriors had a good first quarter, but after that, it was not any good. I agree, Dolby. Eric Pascal, he had a really nice game, and he's played pretty well over the last few games. But this Warriors team, they're just depleted. They got nothing. They don't have anybody who can put the ball in the hoop outside of Pascal right now, and it's going to be a very long season for the Golden State Warriors. They're not making the playoffs.
Without a doubt. Then we'll kick it off to the Eastern Conference. We had the Knicks at the Pistons. The Pistons really put this one away, as they should. The Knicks looking absolutely terrible, and Andre Drummond is looking like a beast out there.
Yeah, and Dolby, I'm really upset about how the Knicks have gotten off to this start right now. They're 1-7 after this loss, and they really struggled in this game against the Pistons. We're playing from behind all game long. But can we make a little bit of a step forward, guys? Can we do that? Can we win a few games? Can we not go 23 and 60-something? Can we maybe get to 30 wins this year? You got some guys. You brought in some guys in free agency. I understand you lost the Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in free agency. You brought Julius Randle in, Bobby Portis and Morris and some other guys in. And remember Morris said that they were going to be dogs at the beginning of the season?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, they ain't playing like it at all. I'm disappointed in this Knicks team, but I'll tell you what, the Pistons are right there, 4-5, without Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, and Reggie Jackson. You got to like what you're seeing from them.
Yeah, they might be playing like dogs, but they're clearly a muzzled dog. They're making absolutely no noise this year. This is going to be a terrible year for the Knicks. I mean, I guess I understand. There's a lot of really good point guards coming out in this upcoming draft class. Got to watch a few of them play a few nights ago, but with the top matchups the other night in college basketball. But you know, they are what they are this year. They're going to be bad. They're 1-7. They've only beaten the Bulls.
They're going to be real bad.
And Andre Drummond continues to impress me. He's been great so far this year. Really put those free throw woes behind him, and he's putting up 20 and 15 every night on anybody. He's out rebounding the whole league. Yeah. This dude is he an
all-star this year, you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Without a doubt. And Blake Griffin is supposed to be coming back. I would watch out for this Pistons team. I like how they're playing so far. And Derrick Rose has been just
pretty good.
Rejuvenated player.
Yeah, and he's played pretty well for Detroit. But Dolby, we're going to move on here. A team that you have been a little bit upset about over the last few games, in the Chicago Bulls. They went to the Hawks and actually held on to a win, 113-93. They moved to 3-6 on the season. Hawks dropped to 3-4. The story of this one, the young guys for the Hawks played bad. They really did. Reddish, Young, and Herter shot 24% from the field. That's just not good enough. Alex Len, we know what we know about him for the Hawks. He stinks. He's going to continue to stink. But Markkanen really stepped up in this game finally for the Chicago Bulls there, Dolby.
Yeah, Lauri Markkanen did look good. He shows a lot of promise. I like his outside game. I like his inside game. He just needs to get a little bit tougher. He needs to be able to bang with some of those bad boys down low. Alex Len is absolutely killing me, dude. Every week with this guy, he puts up 2 points and 4 rebounds, and that's about it. He finally, they're starting to limit his role, and your boy Bruno Fernando is starting to get about 20 minutes a game
that's what I like
out of Maryland. So this clearly Bruno brings a little bit more force down low than does Alex Len. This guy is just an absolute bust from that draft. He's not good. And you said it right here. Kevin Herter, Trae Young, Cam Reddish, and DeAndre Hunter not looking good. DeAndre Hunter, my pick for Rookie of the Year. He played like absolute crap. Shot 1 for 9 last night. Did not look good whatsoever. But moving on to the Timberwolves at the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies beat the Timberwolves 137-121. They had a really bad first and fourth quarter. Andrew Wiggins put up some points, but his team still lost. So that's about where it is for me.
Minus 11 there for Andrew Wiggins.
Plays no defense.
Plays absolutely no defense.
He's gonna shoot the ball a lot.
Yeah, he shot 50%. He shot 21 times, 11 for 21, went 3 of 8 from 3, had 30 points, but this is a Minnesota Timberwolves team that you just really never know about on a consistent basis. They either beat a really good team or they lose to a really bad team. There's no in between with this team at all. But you got to give credit where credit's due here for the Memphis Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks, man, he's been great for the Memphis Grizzlies, as well as Ja Morant. Just big-time games from both those guys, combined plus 19. And the stat I like, Dolby, is Ja Morant had 26 points in 26 minutes, and Dylan Brooks had 30 minutes in this game, 31 points. So that's very efficient scoring by both those guys. Great win for the for the Grizzlies in this one.
You gotta like to see the young Grizzlies going out there and scrapping against a tough Timberwolves team that has shown some promise early in the season. Bad loss there by the T-Wolves on the road. They are now 4-3 on the season. we had the Kings taking a road trip to Toronto to face the Raptors. The Raptors took them down 124-120. It was a close game all the way through, but the Kings now sit at 2-6, not looking good in the Western Conference.
No, they're not, and I'm
disappointed in this team, man. And I understand it's a Raptors team. You had to go to Toronto, but they've looked terrible to start the year. They're 2-6, and they just are not playing with the energy that I thought they would be as a young squad. But I'll tell you what, man, this Raptors team is really impressing me. They're 5-2 on the year after this win against the Kings, and you're really seeing Pascal Siakam just grow as a big-time player in this league. And I said it a few weeks ago. He understands now that he has to be that dude on the Toronto Raptors, and he has been that dude for the Raptors. And Kyle Lowry's played pretty well for the Raptors, being his kind of Robin. It's been a really good year for the Raptors to start, and it's because of the play of Pascal Siakam. And they got a great coach in Nick Nurse.
Yeah. The Nick Nurse, it's weird because, like, Nick Nurse and Pascal Siakam have kind of been, like, handcuffed to each other throughout their entire careers.
Sure.
Nurse used to coach the G League for the Raptors. He got called up, and with him, he brought Siakam, who won G League MVP that year before he got called up. So, it's just a really nice story there for those two. Now they look great. I mean, Nick Nurse could be a Coach of the Year candidate. He could be something really special here for the Toronto Raptors. He does look like he could be an MVP candidate. And moving on, we had the Magic taking on the Mavericks. This was a really close game. It was really interesting to watch. Really enjoyed watching my boy Luka Doncic. He's been one of my favorite players since last year. I was fighting for him for Rookie of the Year. He won it. I was so glad for him. It's just going to be one of the trophies that he's putting on his shelf because he's got a dangerous teammate there with Kristaps Porzingis. They're starting to build a team around those two European big fellas, and I love this game. He is smooth, man. He's like a magician.
Yeah, Luka Doncic is a big-time player here in the NBA, man, and I'll tell you what, he's been great for the Dallas Mavericks this year, and they had a big third quarter in this Magic Mavs game, and that really changed the complexion of this game. The Mavs outscored them 32-23. Luka Doncic, I mean, you're impressed with this guy, Dolby, all the time.
I love this guy.
He had 27 points, came up big with the game on the line, but this Orlando Magic team, man, they had chances in this game late, and they just could not execute at all. They had 6 guys in double figures. Aaron Gordon led the way with 23 points, but he had the ball in his hands late, and he just couldn't get the job done. This was a really tough loss for the Orlando Magic. Good win for the Mavs. They continue to keep pace up there in the really good Western Conference, now 5-2. Just a great win, and they've been a good team all year. I've been impressed.
Yeah, I think Luka really just won this game for him. I mean, he had 27 points. He only hit one of his 7 threes, but he had 7 rebounds and 7 assists. So this dude is out there making everything happen for this team. And, we got to throw Markelle Fultz in here. He's actually been playing this season. He's been playing okay. I mean, he had 24 minutes there at the starting point guard role now for the Orlando Magic. He's overtaken DJ Augustin, who we compare to George Hill out in Milwaukee, who we'll get to their game later. But, Markelle Fultz +9 in the plus-minus rating. He had 3 steals. So this kid, he's making a contribution here for the Magic. You have to like to see it. He's been okay. Didn't hit any threes, but, he is what he is right now.
And he's going to be the same guy, I think, Dolby. He's never going to be somebody that you can just give the ball to and say, create for me. It's just never going to happen. He's going to be what he is, 5 of 10. Actually, a pretty good game here for Fultz. Did miss 2 threes. You mentioned the stats, but I'll tell you what, he's just going to be the same guy. He's never going to be that dude, that guy that you can just count on game after game. He's going to be a contributor for you. He's going to be, I guess, in your starting lineup right now, and you're going to get what you get from him.
Okay, now moving on to the Sixers at the Jazz. This was a heartbreaker here for Sixers Nation last night, dropping the game and losing by 2 points, 106-104 on the road, McClure.
Yeah, and the Sixers now have dropped 2 in a row, and I'll tell you what, this was Embiid's first game back since his suspension when he got in that brawl, or what Charles Barkley called the snuggle party with Karl Anthony Towns. And he balled out, had 27 points and 16 boards. Ben Simmons with the injury to his AC joint in his shoulder. That's going to be a big loss there for the 76ers. Josh Richardson played well for the Sixers. He had probably his best game in Philly with 24 points, 4 boards, and 4 assists. But they have had this problem over the last few years in the Brett Brown era that really cost them in this game. It's the turnovers. And I just get sick and tired of the turnovers game after game after game. They had 16 turnovers in this game. The Jazz had 12, but I'm tired of the turnovers. I really am. Your guys are too good of a basketball team to turn the ball over that many times. And when you combine that with 5 dudes for the Jazz in double figures and 2 in the 20s, you're really you're not giving yourself a chance. They were down in this game. They battled back, and Bogdanovich hit that 3 at the end, and that was pretty much it for the 76ers. They got to cut down on the turnovers. I'm not upset with how they've been playing because this is a West Coast trip. It's very difficult. You drop 2 in a row, they'll come back, but that's my main point here in this game.
Yeah, the 76ers, Ben Simmons, losing him is tough. We're back at Nido Island now. If you're a 76er fan, it's gonna be an interesting stretch. We maybe might see a little bit of Trey Burke, see what Josh Richardson does running that team, and see who gets inserted into the starting lineup. It's gonna be interesting. Is it gonna be Tybal? Is it gonna be maybe Korkmaz, who gives you a little bit of shooting on the outside? He's been playing very good. He had a +6 in his plus-minus last night. But that AC joint injury, it takes about 6 weeks to get fully healthy from that. I expect Ben Simmons to be back in about, I'd say 2 to 3, because his game, he's young and healthy, so he's not like an 80-year-old man trying to recover from this thing. Sure. It's just like the average. But I'd give it a good 2 weeks until he's back, just participating and really done trying to for the beginning portion of his rehab there for the injury. It could be a little while for Ben Simmons. It'll be interesting, especially with the 76ers still on that road trip heading to the Nuggets tomorrow. That's gonna be a tough game. I mean, they started off hot, had the best record in the NBA, but now they're a game behind the Boston Celtics in the division. So this is gonna be a tough road trip here for the 76ers. We're gonna see what Joel Embiid's all about.
Yes, we are, and he's had a big game. He obviously had the big game against the Jazz. And he's going to have a huge game against the Nuggets, against the Joker, man. He's going to have to step up big time, especially with the guard play a little bit thin right now for the 76ers. You're going to see a lot of Raul Neto, who you mentioned. Maybe we'll see some Trey Burke action here for the Philadelphia 76ers coming off the bench. This road trip's been tough. They came away with that unbelievable win against the Portland Trail Blazers on that Korkmaz 3. They've struggled here the last 2 against the Suns and Jazz. We'll have to see what this team's made of.
Yeah, the 76ers looked really good in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Jazz 31-22. So they showed a little bit of life at the end, made it really close, but you got to see more from Al Horford, who was 3 for 14 from the field in 29 minutes. He only had 7 points, didn't really put up many rebounds or assists. He kind of needs to get back into the swing of things. It's tough against Rudy Gobert in that staunch front court for Utah, but the guys who carried the team for Utah wasn't the traditional guys. It was really the imports that they brought in this offseason. Bojan Bogdanović going off for 20 points, a +21 in the plus-minus rating, and as well as Mike Conley, a +19, going for 15 points and 6 rebounds. These 2 guys really showing that they can improve the team.
Yeah, Dolby, you think this Jazz is the top 4 or 5 team here in the West? I think it's very close, and this was a good win. And I think they've just played really well. You mentioned their front court play in Gobert, but I think their backcourt is really just as good as well with Mitchell, with Bogdanović, and Joe Ingles in there as well. This is a really, really good, deep team in the Utah Jazz, and I don't know. I don't know yet with this Jazz team. I want to say that they're going to be a top 4 or 3 team in the West, but they just look either really, really solid or just in my opinion.
Well, they were at home against a really good team, probably the best team in the Eastern Conference, them are the Bucks. So I think they look good.
Okay.
They have a very good coach. I think they this is another year that they're together. They only brought in those two guys, and they're both experienced veterans that have proven that they can help a team make a playoff push or even make a deep push in the playoffs. So, yeah, I like this team. I like their energy a lot, and I like it anytime that you have a defensive stalwart down low and Rudy Gobert that can shut down basically any big man that goes up against him. Yeah, I think Utah's a top 4 team in the Western Conference.
Do you think they contend at all, or I don't see them contending really for like a championship or even coming out of the West? That's where I'm kind of at. Could they compete with the Houston Rockets? Maybe, but I don't see them competing well with like a Lakers or Clippers at all. I think they're just a step or two below that, but I could see them playing if they played like a Nuggets in a series there in a second round, or even I think that would be a very entertaining series.
Well, I think Donovan Mitchell is kind of an underrated player. He's been fantastic his entire career. A lot of people think that he should have deserved that Rookie of the Year, the year that he didn't win it.
Yep.
That Ben Simmons won it. But I mean, this guy's been incredible in his entire career, and he can take over a series, I think, with his shooting, especially if they get like a top 2 seed in the West, because I think this is a Utah team that nobody's going to take rest days. And
Sure.
They've been primarily healthy players. Rudy Gobert has had an injury history in the past, and Mike Conley a little bit too. But, I mean, do they need to play a ton of minutes? Not necessarily. So I think that they can make a deep run, and especially if they have home court advantage. Like I said before, this is a well-coached team. I think if you are well-coached and you have 1 or 2 players that can absolutely dominate games for stretches or a whole series, like a Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert, and they also have experience now, yeah, I like this team a lot. I think Utah's back.
I think this is a Utah team that could just be incredible during the regular season. I really think that. I think they could just rack up wins, and people are like, holy smokes, this team's in the top 3 seed in the West. When the playoffs come, though, I think it's going to be a little bit of a different story. I like this team a lot. I think they could be there. I think they could be like a 5 or 4. I think they could, like you said, maybe get up to a 2 if they catch fire. It's going to be a very interesting Jazz team. This was a great win for them.
Yeah, I agree. And moving on to the last game that we saw last night, the second part of that ESPN doubleheader there, the Bucks took on the Clippers in L.A. The Bucks came out with a victory, 129-124. What'd you see during that game, McClure?
Well, I saw Giannis Antetokounmpo coming up big with 38, 16, and 9. And I saw this. They mentioned it after the game. First player to have 200 points, 100 boards, and 50 assists in the first 8 games of a season.
That's incredible. Oh, my God, dude. He's making history.
Yeah, that's that right there. And George Hill, coming off the bench, 24 points in 24 minutes. That was big time for them. Really lifted them. Eric Bledsoe had a good game. But on the Clippers side, these guys, Lou and Montrezl Harrell, are absolutely incredible. What they did last night, they both put up 34 points, had a combined 68, 19 boards, and 16 assists. These are guys who are coming off your bench, man, and they dominate. Now, I know they lost this game. No Kawhi Leonard that we mentioned earlier, but these guys just bring a different mentality to a game, and I am just impressed with these guys, Lou and Montrezl Harrell, man. But you got to give credit to the Bucks. They came out on the road and in the West and did a great job, and you got to give credit to Giannis for being that leader and dominating.
Yeah, the Staples Center is always going to be a tough place to play. You know, the Clippers have a very strong home court advantage there. Especially, there's going to be nobody there repping the Bucks, basically. and it's tough sometimes, you know, to go on the road and beat these good teams, especially a deep team like the Clippers. I really liked what I saw from the Bucks. I really liked what I saw from Giannis. It was weird because, you know, he'll step at the free throw line. He'll either absolutely whiff it by a half foot or it's money. So it's like, it's very strange. But all I see from Giannis is a player that's still improving. This guy's incredible. I see why the Bucks took a flyer on his younger brother, and I see why the Lakers took a flyer on his other younger brother. Because if they can develop into something that's even half as good as Giannis, that's great bench production. Why not, dude? I mean, Giannis is clearly, his basketball IQ is growing exponentially. He's gotten so much smarter at the game of basketball, and his body is developed to a way that really he's an unstoppable wrecking ball down there, especially whenever he gets down low. What would impress me last night was he didn't need to get down low.
He shot the three.
He shot 4 of 7 from 3. Oh, my God, dude.
Imagine if that gets better and better. Just imagine. Just imagine if he can step out behind the key and just drain threes. You got no shot.
You don't at all. The Bucks employing 2 sets of brothers. They've got Giannis and his younger brother Thanasis, and they also have the Lopez brothers. Brooks Lopez it wasn't doing much on the offensive side of the offensive side of the ball there for the Bucks, but he did have 6 blocks. So he came up big, and guess what? He had 12 rebounds. So he was doing what he needed to do down low. He was protecting the paint.
Yep.
This is a team that everybody really knows their role, even whenever Chris Middleton struggles, because he's going to struggle at times. Everybody's going to struggle at times. It's everybody on this team that knows their role other than Wes Matthews. Even though last night you saw he only took 2 shots. You can't have Wes Matthews taking 6. You can't. That's unacceptable. Last night, 2 shots, 18 minutes. I like that. From the Bucks.
You like that from Wes Matthews, that stat line?
That's an okay stat line, dude. As long as he's, not turning the ball over, which he's prone to do, and he's not shooting the ball too much. That's an okay stat line from Wes Matthews. Other than that, I mean, just a lot of contributors here for the Milwaukee Bucks, and the player that really stood out to me for the Clippers last night was Pat Beverly. We've talked about him multiple times on this show. I love the dude. He's one of my favorite players. Whenever I play in 2K, I always trade for him. Every time, because I love how he plays defense. I won't play him. Yeah, I won't play as him. I won't user him because I'll just let him run around and play his defense.
Yeah.
But this dude's defense is impeccable. It's incredible. He was hitting shots last night. He had 20 points. Hey, when's the last time that Pat Beverly had 20 points? He was on fire last night. He had 10 rebounds, 2 steals. He was hounding people on defense. Every defensive play, I'm seeing Pat Beverly's getting a hand in their face. He's getting a hand near the ball. This is what he does, man. This is he's just incredible. A guy who came over, bought out his contract from Europe, $1 million, bet on himself, and now is playing for a Clippers team that's going to contend for titles. Patrick Beverly, bravo, man.
He's a big time player, Dolby, and he's a big time player. It's not that he can score the ball; it's what he does on defense. And you mentioned it, and he isn't afraid of anybody, man. I just like how he just attacks on defense. He just is like, you might be 6'8", 7 foot, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna give you my best shot on defense.
Yeah, he did a great job limiting Eric Bledsoe. 4 turnovers there from him, and also played a little bit of D on Middleton. Middleton 3 of 13. For the game. So you just see how Patrick Beverly can impact the team and how starting or coming off the bench, it doesn't matter. These Clippers, they're fighters, man, and they got a great head coach behind them. They're definitely poised to make a run this year. I love how they're playing. I mean, sitting at 5-3, but some of those losses, this loss last night without Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. So it was a great road win from the Bucks. It's easy to go out to LA, have a lot of fun, get tired, and really not prepare for the game. Giannis made sure that he was prepared. 16 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. He was all over the place. 38 points for Giannis. This dude, incredible.
Woo! I mean, you just can't say enough about this guy, man. What he does on a basketball court is it's unbelievable. This is why this guy was an MVP last year. That's why he will be in the mix for this year's MVP.
The first game here, Heat at Phoenix Suns. The Suns are favored by 1 point. McClure, who you got here?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dolby. Originally, I had the Miami Heat winning this game, and I looked at the line, and I was thinking I could really see the Heat winning this. The Suns are playing well, and I just jumped on the Suns bandwagon here. They're at home. They beat a good 76ers team. I like the Suns to win this game in a very, very close game. I think they win by obviously more than 1 point, but I think it's going to be a very close game. I've been impressed, Dolby, at what this Suns team has been able to accomplish thus far without DeAndre Ayton. They got Devin Booker, and this guy right now is he's one of the best scorers in basketball, and he's shown to kind of lead a little bit here for the Phoenix Suns. They got off to a great start. I'm going to say they continue to stay hot against the Heat, win this one.
Yeah, I got the Heat winning this one, even though they are on the road. I think they're going to play solid defense. I like this Miami Heat team a lot. There's a bunch of grown men on this team. If you think that Jimmy Butler's going to let Devin Booker go off for 40, you're absolutely wrong.
Yep.
And I think that's what the Phoenix Suns have been relying on, especially without Ayton. They've been relying a lot on Booker, and Rubio has really been feeding off of Booker's energy. So I think that whenever Booker is limited, which he will be in this game, even though Justice Winslow, he's a game-time decision with a head injury. They got a bunch of players sick on this Miami team. I still like Miami to go in there and beat the Suns. I think it's going to be close. The Suns right now 7-0 against the spread, but I really like Miami here to snap their streak and to beat the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, and the Heat are good against the spread too, 5-1-1. So both teams really good against the spread. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. I'm really looking forward to watching this game this Thursday. Moving on to a game that I'm less excited to watch is the Boston Celtics at the Hornets here. The Celtics are favored by 7.5 points. I like the Celtics to win, but I like the Hornets to cover. The Hornets, they've been losing games. They've been losing and winning games, but they've been very close. A lot of these games have been really close for the Hornets. They've shown a little bit of promise. I think there's a little bit of oomph added to Scary Terry's game here, the point guard for the Hornets, because he's facing off against his own team. I don't think they have enough juice to win, and they're just such a team, and I think the Celtics are just a better team than this. The Celtics know what position they're in. They've got to go in. They've got to beat this team. The Celtics have beaten a lot of teams that they should beat. So they lost one to the 76ers early, but I think this is a team that's getting better. Kemba Walker showed a lot more promise lately, so I think that the Celtics win, but they don't quite cover. The Celtics not a great team against the spread either.
Yeah, I have that exact pick there, Dolby. I got the Celtics winning this game, but the Hornets covering. This is a little bit of an interesting game because Kemba's making his return, an emotional return to Charlotte, where he spent a majority of his career there, drafted as a rookie, and I think he's going to be out and ready to play. But I also think this Hornets team is going to be ready to play. P.J. Washington's shown great shooting the ball as a rookie. I'm a big fan of Devontae Graham and what he's done for that Hornets team. I think it's going to be a good game, and I think the Celtics are going to pull out and win it, but I don't think they're going to cover the spread.
Yeah, and going on to the Blazers at the LA Clippers tonight. Clippers favored by 5.5 right now. McClure, you've got the Blazers on the money line.
Yeah, money line. This is my McClure's money line pick of the week, man. Blazers winning this game, -5.5. The Clippers are coming off a game last night. They got a back-to-back. They will have Kawhi, but I'll tell you what, Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum can score at will. I think they're going to play big in this game. Take the Blazers on the money line. McClure's money line pick of the week, +200. I think it's a pretty solid bet if you would place it. I like the Blazers tonight.
Yeah, I like the bet, but I don't like it as much as the Clippers covering the spread. They typically cover at home. They're 4-1 against the spread at home. You got to love that matchup. Plus Kawhi Leonard coming back. They've played some good teams already so far. They played the Bucks tough last night. It's hard to bet against the Clippers right now, especially with Kawhi coming back. I like the Clippers to win and cover. And for the last game of the night, the Oklahoma City Thunder are taking on the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs favored by 4.5 points here, McClure.
I got the Spurs winning and covering in this game. I think it's a pretty interesting game. The Thunder have shown me that they can play a little bit here with Gilgeous-Alexander, Steven Adams, and Chris Paul. They play pretty well for the Thunder. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I just like the Spurs to come out and win this one by more than 5 points in this one. I think they win it around 6 points. The Spurs, they're just a real good team. They play crisp. I like the Spurs to win and cover.
Yeah, you know what? I think 4.5 here is going to be a little bit too much against the Thunder. I like the Spurs to win. I do not like them to cover. The Spurs are one of the worst teams against the spread so far, and the Thunder are one of the best. People are actually sleeping on the Thunder. The Thunder are not going to win many games, but they're always going to be in these games. They've rattled off 2 in a row. They're both at home. They're facing off against the Spurs, who have looked okay. They're hurting for a win. I think they'll get the win. They'll right the ship, but it will be close. Whenever the Thunder lose, 3 points against the Blazers, 4 points against the Rockets, 5 points against the Jazz. Do I think the Jazz are better than the Spurs? Yes. Was it at the Jazz? Yes. Do I think the Thunder are going to win?
No.
Heck to the no. But are they going to cover? Yeah, they're a good enough team to cover.
It's close, man. I think it's really close. I'm going for the home team here. I think they're just going to come out and really just play well against this Thunder team.
Alrighty, guys, that's all we have for the show. Thanks for listening on Com Radio. Thanks for watching on Facebook Live and on YouTube. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for everything.